For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On August 14, 2010, surfer Jake Thompson, 25, disappeared while surfing alone at a remote break near Point Dume in Malibu, California. His rental car was found in the beach parking area with his wallet and phone inside, but there was no trace of the experienced surfer who had been visiting from San Diego. Despite extensive searches by lifeguards, Coast Guard units, and volunteer surfers, neither Thompson nor his surfboard were ever recovered from the Pacific waters. For 13 years, his disappearance remained one of Malibu's most puzzling, unsolved cases, occasionally discussed in surfing communities and missing persons investigations. Then, in September 2023, a marine biologist conducting research along the Palos Verdes Peninsula made a discovery that would finally crack the case and expose a shocking crime that had been hidden beneath the waves for over a decade. This is the complete story of Thompson's vanishing and the broken surfboard that ultimately led to justice 13 years later. August 14, 2010, began with perfect surfing conditions along Malibu's coastline, where Jake Thompson had driven from San Diego to catch waves at some of Southern California's most legendary surf breaks. The 25-year-old graphic designer was an experienced surfer who regularly traveled to different beaches throughout California to find the best conditions and document them through his photography work. Thompson had arrived in Malibu the previous evening and had spent the night in his car at a beachside parking area, a common practice among dedicated surfers seeking to catch the early morning waves. He was known among his friends for his adventurous spirit and willingness to surf alone at remote locations where crowds were minimal and the connection with nature felt most authentic. The young designer had been surfing since age 12, when his father introduced him to the sport at their local break in San Diego. Over 13 years of surfing, Thompson had developed strong ocean skills and an intuitive understanding of surf conditions that made him comfortable in challenging situations. His friends described him as cautious but confident, someone who respected the ocean's power while pushing his own limits. Thompson's custom surfboard was a work of art as much as a functional piece of equipment. The blue and white design featured intricate geometric patterns that he had created himself, combining his graphic design skills with his passion for surfing. The board was shaped by renowned craftsman Tony Martinez in San Diego, using premium materials and featuring a distinctive logo that made it instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with custom surf culture. His roommate, Mike Rodriguez, later told investigators that Thompson had been particularly excited about this Malibu trip because he was working on a photography project documenting California's best surf breaks. Thompson planned to capture images of both the waves and the unique character of each location, eventually creating a coffee table book that would celebrate the state's diverse surf culture. The surf forecast for August 14th showed ideal conditions with clean waves in the 4 to 6 foot range and offshore winds that would create excellent surfing opportunities. Thompson had researched several potential surf spots using multiple forecasting websites and had chosen a relatively secluded break near Point Dume that was known for consistent waves but required a longer paddle out and more advanced surfing skills. Thompson had checked the Dawn Patrol surf report at 5:30 a.m., confirming that conditions were lining up perfectly for his planned session. He prepared his equipment methodically, waxing his board and checking his leash and wetsuit for anywhere that might cause problems in the water. His preparation routine was always thorough, reflecting the respect for ocean safety that his father had instilled in him during their early surfing adventures. Around 7:30 a.m., several other surfers at nearby Zuma Beach observed Thompson entering the water at the remote break, carrying his distinctive custom surfboard. The witnesses later told investigators that Thompson appeared to be an experienced surfer who was comfortable with the ocean conditions and moved through the water with the confidence of someone who had spent years perfecting his skills. Local photographer Jenny Walsh, who was shooting sunrise images from the beach, captured several photographs of Thompson paddling out that morning. These images would later become crucial evidence in establishing the timeline of his disappearance and documenting his apparent comfort and confidence in the ocean environment. The surf session was expected to last several hours, with Thompson planning to surf until late morning before beginning his drive back to San Diego. He had told friends he would check in when he returned home, a routine practice that would later alert them to his disappearance and trigger the initial missing person report. When Thompson failed to check in with friends by evening and didn't respond to phone calls, his roommate Mike Rodriguez became increasingly concerned. Thompson was punctual about communication, especially when traveling alone to surf remote breaks. Rodriguez had expected to receive Thompson's usual post-surf text message by 2 p.m., followed by a call confirming his safe arrival home by evening. By 8 p.m., when multiple attempts to reach Thompson had failed, Rodriguez contacted several mutual friends to see if anyone had heard from him. The tight-knit San Diego surf community quickly mobilized, with friends calling surf shops, beaches, and hospitals throughout the region to gather any information about Thompson's whereabouts. Rodriguez finally contacted Malibu lifeguards at 9:30 p.m. to report a possible missing surfer. The initial response focused on the area where Thompson had been seen entering the water, though the remote location and darkness made immediate searching challenging. Lifeguard Captain Steve Morrison organized a preliminary search using available resources while alerting additional agencies about the missing surfer. Los Angeles County lifeguards initiated water search operations using jet skis and rescue boats to patrol the coastline where Thompson had been surfing. The search expanded throughout the evening to include areas where ocean currents might have carried a surfer who had encountered difficulties. Powerful searchlights swept the ocean surface while teams checked beaches and rocky areas where someone might have come ashore. The search teams faced significant challenges due to the vast scale of the ocean area and the complex current patterns along the Malibu coast. Night searching was particularly difficult, as even large objects could be invisible in the dark water beyond the range of searchlights. The teams methodically covered likely drift patterns while hoping to spot any signs of Thompson or his distinctive surfboard. Thompson's rental car was found exactly where he had parked it, with his wallet, phone, and car keys secured inside. The vehicle showed no signs of disturbance, and personal items suggested Thompson had intended to return after his surf session as planned. His camera equipment was neatly organized in the back seat, ready for the photography work he had planned to complete during his visit. The car's contents provided investigators with insights into Thompson's planned activities and state of mind. His notebook contained detailed surf forecasts, tide charts, and location notes for multiple Malibu surf breaks. The planning evident in his notes contradicted any theory that he might have been reckless or unprepared for the ocean conditions he encountered. Coast Guard helicopters conducted aerial searches of the ocean surface, looking for any signs of Thompson or his surfboard floating in the waters off Malibu. However, the vast scale of the Pacific Ocean and strong currents made comprehensive searching extremely challenging. The helicopters covered hundreds of square miles using sophisticated search patterns designed to maximize coverage of likely drift areas. The investigation revealed that Thompson was an experienced surfer with strong ocean skills who had been surfing for over 15 years. His disappearance during routine surfing conditions at a familiar type of break seemed inconsistent with his abilities and experience level. Friends and family emphasized that Thompson was cautious and knowledgeable about ocean safety, making his disappearance even more puzzling. Detective Sergeant Maria Rodriguez of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department took charge of the investigation, which expanded beyond typical missing person protocols due to the unusual circumstances of an experienced surfer vanishing in moderate conditions. Rodriguez had handled numerous missing person cases throughout her 15-year career, but Thompson's disappearance presented unique challenges that required specialized knowledge of surf culture and ocean conditions. The detective's first priority was establishing a comprehensive timeline of Thompson's activities leading up to his disappearance. This involved interviewing everyone who had seen him in Malibu, analyzing his digital communications, and reconstructing his movements from the time he arrived until he entered the water for his final surf session. The investigation examined Thompson's personal relationships and recent activities for any indication of problems that might explain his disappearance. Rodriguez conducted extensive interviews with Thompson's family, friends, co-workers, and romantic interests, looking for any conflicts, financial pressures, or emotional issues that might have contributed to his vanishing. Thompson's employer, Design Dynamics in San Diego, provided detailed information about his work situation and mental state in the weeks leading up to his Malibu trip. Supervisor Lisa Chen described Thompson as a reliable employee who had recently received a promotion and was excited about new creative projects. His work attendance and performance showed no signs of stress or problems that might indicate personal difficulties. Friends from the San Diego surf community painted a picture of Thompson as a dedicated surfer who was passionate about the sport, but also safety conscious and respectful of ocean conditions. Several longtime surfing buddies noted that Thompson always informed others about his surfing plans and was meticulous about checking conditions before entering the water. However, interviews with other surfers revealed tensions that existed within California's surf community, particularly regarding territorial behavior at certain breaks. Some surfers described conflicts between locals and visitors, especially at spots that were considered locals only by longtime residents who felt protective of their home breaks. Detective Rodriguez learned that the Point Dume area where Thompson disappeared had been the site of previous conflicts between local surfers and visitors from other areas. While most interactions were limited to verbal confrontations or intimidation, some incidents had escalated to physical altercations that required police intervention. The investigation also revealed that Thompson had been documenting his travels through social media and photography, potentially drawing attention to himself as an outsider exploring spots that some locals preferred to keep secret. His professional quality photography and detailed location information might have been seen as problematic by surfers who wanted to protect their breaks from increased crowds. Witness interviews confirmed that Thompson had been alone when entering the water, and no other surfers reported seeing him in distress or encountering problems during his session. However, the remote location meant that few people had been present to observe his activities, creating gaps in the timeline that made reconstruction difficult. Several surfers mentioned seeing other individuals in the water that morning, but descriptions were vague and conflicting. The combination of early morning lighting, distance, and the fact that surfers in wetsuits often look similar made positive identification of other surfers extremely challenging. Ocean condition analysis showed that while currents were present, they were not unusually strong for the area and should not have posed significant dangers to an experienced surfer. Weather conditions had remained stable throughout the morning with no sudden changes that might have created hazardous situations. The National Weather Service confirmed that no unusual wave or wind patterns had occurred during Thompson's surf session. The search operation continued for 2 weeks with Coast Guard vessels, volunteer boats, and aircraft covering hundreds of square miles of ocean. Despite extensive efforts involving multiple agencies and hundreds of volunteers from the surfing community, no evidence of Thompson or his surfboard was discovered in the Pacific waters. The massive search effort included both professional rescue teams and volunteers from throughout Southern California's surf community. Surf shops from San Diego to Santa Barbara contributed boats, equipment, and personnel to the operation. The response demonstrated the tight bonds within California's surfing culture and the determination to find one of their own. Advanced search technologies were deployed, including sonar equipment capable of detecting objects on the ocean floor and thermal imaging systems that could identify heat signatures in the water. However, the ocean's depth and complex underwater topography in the Point Dume area made comprehensive seafloor searching extremely challenging. Marine safety experts consulted during the search noted that the Point Dume area was characterized by underwater canyons and rocky formations that could trap debris or prevent objects from washing ashore. The complex underwater geography meant that traditional search patterns might miss evidence even if it was relatively close to the search area. Local knowledge from longtime Malibu surfers and fishermen proved invaluable in understanding current patterns and likely drift areas. Several experienced watermen volunteered their time in boats, using their decades of knowledge about local ocean conditions to guide search efforts toward areas where objects were most likely to wash up. The search also revealed the challenges of coordinating multiple agencies and volunteer groups in ocean rescue operations. Coast Guard personnel worked alongside county lifeguards, sheriff's deputies, and civilian volunteers, requiring careful coordination to ensure safety while maximizing search effectiveness. Despite the extensive efforts, the search teams faced the sobering reality that the Pacific Ocean could easily conceal evidence indefinitely. Objects could sink to great depths, be carried far from shore by currents, or become trapped in underwater formations where they would never be found by conventional search methods. Throughout 2011 and 2012, the case remained active with periodic searches and investigation of reported sightings along Southern California beaches. Thompson's surfboard, a distinctive custom board with unique artwork, became a key piece of evidence that investigators hoped might eventually surface and provide crucial clues about his fate. The surfboard's distinctive design made it one of the most recognizable pieces of surf equipment on the West Coast. Tony Martinez, the San Diego shaper who had crafted the board, provided detailed specifications and photographs that helped investigators create accurate descriptions for distribution throughout the surf community. The surfing community throughout California maintained awareness of the case, with surf shops and beach communities posting flyers and sharing information about the missing board on social media platforms. The distinctive blue and white geometric design made it likely that the surfboard would be recognized if it washed ashore or was discovered by other surfers. Surf shop owners from Mexico to Oregon were provided with detailed photographs and descriptions of Thompson's board, creating a network of informed observers who could identify the distinctive equipment if it appeared in their areas. The collaborative effort demonstrated the surfing community's commitment to finding answers about Thompson's disappearance. In addition to the physical searches, Detective Rodriguez maintained regular contact with surf industry professionals, oceanographers, and marine safety experts who might provide insights into where Thompson's equipment might eventually surface. The scientific approach to understanding ocean currents and debris patterns became an important part of the ongoing investigation. The case generated interest from academic researchers studying ocean drift patterns and the movement of floating debris. Several oceanography departments contributed computational models that predicted likely areas where Thompson's surfboard might wash ashore based on current patterns and weather data from August 2010. In 2013, a surfboard found near Santa Barbara initially raised hopes for resolution, but detailed examination revealed it was unrelated to Thompson's case. The board's construction, dimensions, and artwork were significantly different from Thompson's custom design, though the discovery prompted renewed searches in the Santa Barbara area. Such discoveries occasionally renewed attention to the investigation but didn't provide breakthrough evidence. Each false lead required careful examination and comparison with known details about Thompson's equipment, demonstrating the importance of maintaining detailed records about missing persons cases. The Thompson family organized annual memorial paddle-outs at various Southern California beaches, events that kept his case visible within the surf community while honoring his memory. These gatherings often generated new tips or potential leads as participants shared information and maintained awareness of the ongoing search for answers. The case was featured in several surfing magazines and missing persons programs, generating tips from throughout the West Coast and beyond. Surfers traveling to different countries reported potential sightings of Thompson's distinctive board, though international follow-up proved challenging and none of the overseas leads provided credible evidence. By 2015, 5 years after Thompson's disappearance, the active investigation had been scaled back, though the case remained technically open and detectives continued following up on credible tips or new information that emerged. September 8, 2023, began as a research day for Dr. Sarah Chen, a marine biologist from UCLA conducting studies on kelp forest ecosystems along the Palos Verdes Peninsula. Her research involved documenting marine life and environmental conditions in underwater areas that were rarely visited by divers or researchers. Around 2:45 p.m., while conducting underwater surveys at a depth of approximately 25 meters, Dr. Chen discovered debris that appeared to be the remains of a surfboard lodged among rocks in a submarine canyon. The debris was partially covered by marine growth, but showed evidence of human manufacture. Closer examination revealed that the surfboard remains included distinctive artwork and design elements that seemed significant enough to warrant documentation. Dr. Chen photographed the debris and recorded GPS coordinates while noting that the board appeared to have been underwater for an extended period. Upon returning to the surface, Dr. Chen reviewed her photographs and realized that the distinctive blue and white design might be related to missing persons cases she had heard about in the surfing community. The artwork and color scheme seemed familiar from missing surfer flyers she had seen at various beaches. Recognizing the potential significance of her discovery, Dr. Chen contacted both UCLA security and local law enforcement about the underwater debris. Her detailed photographs and precise location data would prove crucial to the eventual resolution of Thompson's case. Los Angeles County Sheriff's investigators responded to Dr. Chen's report and immediately recognized the potential connection to Jake Thompson's 2010 disappearance. The distinctive surfboard design matched descriptions and photographs from the 13-year-old missing persons case. Underwater recovery operations were organized to examine and retrieve the surfboard debris from its location in the submarine canyon. The operation required specialized diving equipment and careful documentation to preserve any evidence that might remain after 13 years underwater. Forensic analysis of the recovered surfboard revealed damage patterns that were inconsistent with normal surfing accidents or ocean wear. The board showed evidence of impact damage that appeared to have been caused by deliberate force rather than natural causes. Most significantly, DNA analysis of organic material found embedded in the damaged surfboard revealed genetic material from two different individuals. One sample matched Jake Thompson's DNA profile, while the second sample belonged to someone not in law enforcement databases. The discovery transformed the case from a missing person investigation to a homicide inquiry, with the surfboard evidence suggesting that Thompson had been the victim of violence rather than a surfing accident. The investigation focused on identifying the source of the unknown DNA found on Thompson's surfboard. Advanced forensic techniques available in 2023 allowed for detailed analysis that had not been possible when the case was initially investigated in 2010. Genetic genealogy databases were used to trace the unknown DNA profile, eventually identifying relatives of the individual whose genetic material had been found on the surfboard. The investigation led to Marcus Wade, a 42-year-old Malibu resident with a history of violent behavior. Wade was questioned about his activities on August 14, 2010, and his potential connection to Jake Thompson's disappearance. Initially denying any involvement, Wade eventually confessed when confronted with the DNA evidence from the surfboard. According to Wade's confession, he had encountered Thompson in the water during his surf session and had engaged in an altercation that escalated to violence. Wade admitted to striking Thompson with his own surfboard, causing fatal injuries, before disposing of the body and damaged board in deep water. The motive for the attack appeared to be related to surf territory disputes and Wade's aggressive behavior toward surfers he perceived as outsiders in his surf spots. The confession provided closure to Thompson's family while revealing a shocking crime that had been hidden beneath the Pacific for 13 years. The arrest of Marcus Wade on murder charges brought resolution to one of Malibu's most perplexing missing person cases. The discovery of Thompson's damaged surfboard and the DNA evidence it contained had finally provided the breakthrough needed to solve the 13-year-old mystery. Dr. Chen's underwater research and her recognition of the surfboard's potential significance had been crucial to the case resolution. Her scientific training and awareness of community missing persons cases had led to the discovery that cracked the cold case. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department acknowledged that advances in DNA analysis and genetic genealogy had made it possible to solve cases that had seemed impossible when they originally occurred. The Thompson case demonstrated the value of preserving evidence even when initial investigations don't produce results. Wade was charged with second-degree murder and received a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. The conviction provided justice for Thompson's family while removing a dangerous individual who had been living freely in the Malibu community for over a decade. The case prompted discussions about surf culture and territorial behavior that can sometimes lead to violence in surfing communities. Thompson's death highlighted the need for conflict resolution and respectful sharing of surf resources. Jake Thompson's story serves as both a tragedy and an important reminder that violence can occur even in recreational settings that are generally considered peaceful and safe. His murder revealed the dark side of surf territorialism and aggressive behavior that can turn deadly. The 13-year delay in solving the case illustrates how ocean environments can preserve evidence while making it extremely difficult to discover. The surfboard's preservation in the submarine canyon had maintained crucial DNA evidence that ultimately solved the crime. For law enforcement agencies and forensic scientists, the case provided valuable insights into underwater evidence preservation and the importance of maintaining unsolved cases in active databases as new technologies become available. The persistence of Thompson's family and friends in keeping his case visible in the surfing community contributed to the recognition of Dr. Chen's discovery as potentially significant when the surfboard debris was found. The case demonstrates how scientific research can sometimes intersect with criminal investigations in unexpected ways, providing breakthroughs that dedicated law enforcement efforts alone might not achieve. Marine biology research continues along Southern California's coastline, with scientists now more aware of the potential significance of unusual debris or materials discovered during underwater surveys. As of 2023, improved DNA analysis capabilities and genetic genealogy databases provide new opportunities for solving cold cases that previously seemed unsolvable, offering hope for families of missing persons throughout California and beyond. Thompson's legacy lives on through increased awareness of surf culture conflicts and the continued efforts of marine researchers whose work sometimes provides unexpected solutions to decades-old mysteries, while his story serves as a reminder that justice can emerge even after many years through the intersection of science and law enforcement.